Hi guys, welcome to 84 Academy. In today's video, I will be talking about Google Ads experiments. The video will be split into two parts. Part one, we will discuss the theory behind experiments and the different types of experiments you can run. In part two, we'll be doing a live demonstration showing you exactly how to set up experiments correctly. I recommend you stick around for both parts as they can get pretty complicated. So it's important we've got a strong foundation and we are setting them up for the right reasons. With that being said and done, let's jump into the video. There's a bit of a misconception around experiments, and a lot of people think they're very complicated and for advanced sort of Google Ads users only. And don't get me wrong, they can get complicated, but there are really effective ways of using them that are actually very straightforward and accessible to 80 to 90% of Google Ads users out there. So I highly recommend testing them and working with them. But before we get into actually using them, we need to understand the core principles behind them. And what better way than to look at the dictionary definition of an experiment itself. It's described as a test done in order to learn something or to discover if something works or is true. And I'm sure you're aware and remember from school, an effective experiment should only be testing one variable. This is key, and if we change more than one variable, we'll be unable to conclusively determine which variable has actually impacted the results. So with that in mind, let's look at Google Ads experiments and their capabilities a little bit more. You can create and run an experiment on your campaign to test the impact of your proposed changes. If you split the budget equally between the original campaign and the experiment, you can easily compare the results over a specified time period. If your experiment produces better results, you can apply the experiment to the original campaign, or you can go ahead and replace the campaign completely. Across the experiment framework, there are actually 4 types of experiment you can run, and each of them can only be used across certain campaign types. The first is ad variation. With ad variations, you can review the performance of your variations and apply the modified ads to your account. Ad variations are typically used to test text ads, responsive search ads, or a single change across multiple campaigns. They're only available on search campaigns though, so please bear that in mind. Most common and the type I use most often is actually custom experiments. These can only be run for search and display campaigns though. Custom experiments are typically used to test smart bidding, keyword match types, landing pages, audiences, and ad groups. So probably the most versatile of all of the experiment types. Next up, we have video experiments. They're used to determine which of your video ads is more effective on YouTube. Video experiments are available for video and discovery campaigns. And finally, we have our newest addition to the experiments framework, Performance Max Experiments, released in 2023, the early part of 2023, I believe. PMax Experiments is a tool that allows you to A/B test different features, settings, and campaigns to improve results for your business. You can use them to help you measure the incremental uplift of using PMax campaigns by setting up either an uplift experiment or a shopping versus PMax experiment. So now we know a little bit more about experiments and the different types of experiments. Let's actually jump into the demo account and I'll take you through a live demonstration how to set up a custom experiment. So if you've got solid keywords, they're all high intent, and you've got strong ad copy with a good click-through rate, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% plus, especially if you're using smart bidding, and you're still not getting conversions, it's likely it's got something to do with your landing page. This is where experiments come into their own, with the ability to A/B test landing pages in a controlled manner. Now, I'm not going to go into exactly how you should be setting up your landing page to drive conversions. I will probably make another video on that in the future. But if you've got any questions about it in the meantime, then feel free to comment below and I will get back to you, or join the 84 Discord server below. Again, you can ask me questions there and it's completely free. So if you're following along, make sure you've got both your landing pages ready and let's get started. Welcome to the 84 demo account. In here, you can see we have got a campaign set up here that we'll be applying the experiment to. So if you are following along, make sure you've got a campaign running already that you want to apply this experiment to. Now, the first thing we want to do is take a look on the left-hand side here. Let me just move that out of the way. and we want to scroll all the way down on this side to where you can see the experiments tab here. It's a little bit tucked away there, and sorry, it's a little bit zoomed out. But if we click on experiments, we go to all experiments, you'll have a list of where all of the experiments you're currently running. You'll also see down here in the bottom left corner, you can segment that by the different types of experiments that you have set up already. But for this example, we want to go ahead to the plus button, which is new experiment, and we want to take a look at our options here. So 4 options, like I mentioned in the first part of this video: optimized text ads, video experiments, custom experiments, and performance max experiments. I think they're all pretty self-explanatory, and we've kind of gone through why you should be using each of them anyway. But the most versatile of all the experiment types is the custom experiments, and you can really do a lot here. It essentially duplicates the campaign, and you can kind of play around with any of the settings that you want. So I'm going to go ahead, click on custom experiments, and like I said before as well, this can be applied to both display and search campaigns. For this example, we've got a search campaign set up, so I will click search, then I'll click continue, and now we just need to name the experiment. So don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. I'm going to go A/B test. And I'm not going to add a description because there's not that much going on in the account. But if you were running lots of different campaigns, and sometimes it's worth putting a description in there, especially if you're sharing accounts, other people are aware of the goals of these particular campaigns. And obviously we need to select a campaign that we want to apply the up and coming experiment to. So we click on that icon and we just select the appropriate campaign. So you can see here, it's a bit of a summary. We've got the search brand keywords campaign, and it's using this suffix, which is just taken from the name above here, landing page A/B testing. And we know the duplicated search campaign will be called brand keywords landing page A/B test. Let's save and continue. So once you've done that, you'll be brought to this page, which looks remarkably like the normal campaign overview page, but it's not. This is actually within the experiments framework still. So this is not your regular account. This is actually the duplicated campaign. And you can see that here, how it has the landing page A/B test in the name. If you did want to go ahead and change that, you can do that by clicking on the little icon there. I'm happy with the name, so I won't. Like I mentioned as well, custom experiments, you really do have free reign over what you want to change. This is basically the same as the campaign overview. So you can come in here, click the gear icon. You can actually change any of the settings that you want in this duplicated campaigns. If you are using this experiment to test different bid strategies, if you want to do a target ROAS against a maximize conversion value, you could come into the settings here and you could actually change that simply by scrolling down to the bidding strategy, opening it up, and then you can change the bid strategy just like that. I won't do that now because I don't want to play around with this too much. Like I said as well in the first part of this video, it's really important that we're just changing one variable, otherwise we won't know which variable it is that's actually affecting the real change in the campaign itself. So whether you want to go ahead and do different ad copy, select different keyword match types, you can all do that within here just by going into the sort of keywords themselves, or as we're going to do, we're going to go into the actual ad itself, click the icon to edit, bring up the existing ad copy that's already in, because remember this is duplicated, and we want to go ahead here and just change the landing page to our new A/B testing landing page, which is this. It's not a real landing page, by the way. I'm just using it for example. And as you can see, all the other ad copy has been duplicated and is exactly the same. So we're getting that complete fair test. No ad copy was changed. It's simply the landing page, the destination of the ad that has changed only. Obviously, feel free to come in here, sort of play around, change the things that you want. But once you're done and you've made the single variable change that you want to, just come up here. It's a little bit tucked away, but hit the schedule button here, and that will bring you through to the third and final part of setting up an experiment itself. And the first thing you want to look at is the experiment goals. Now, experiment goals are basically the metrics you want to measure that will determine success. And you can pick up to 2. For this, I'm looking to get more conversions. Naturally, I want to come down and I want to select conversions, and naturally I want to see conversions increase. Alongside a sort of increase in conversions, you would also expect a more efficient landing page to affect the cost per conversion, and I want to see the cost per conversion come down. So now I've determined the two variables for success: an increase in conversions and a decrease in the cost per conversion. Quite straightforward. Next up, we've got the experiment split. I think this is quite straightforward as well. This is basically the split of budget between the control experiment, which is the control campaign, which is the original campaign, and the experiment itself, which is the new duplicated campaign with the new landing page. And we can do that by sliding, we can select sort of budget split by sliding this back and forth. For me, I kind of like to keep things 50-50 split. Remember, if you do only put sort of like a 10% budget split here, it's tough to get enough spend across the experiment line to actually get tangible results. So just factor that in, especially if your budgets are low. It may take quite a while to actually get some decent results off the back of this. So remember, the algo needs to optimize to this new landing page, and it needs to send a lot of test traffic before it starts optimizing effectively. So you want to give it enough time and enough spend to really sort of give it a fair chance. If you do split the experiment budget too small, you may struggle to get those tangible results. And under advanced options, I kind of recommend you keep this as is, cookie based. If you do run search based, this just means that it's running across searches. So there is an opportunity for this same person to interact with your control and also your experiment. And if you use cookie based, that mitigates that somewhat. I mean, cookies are not as good as they used to be, but it's more likely that one person will only be exposed to either the control or the experiment and not both. Caveat with the cookie based is that it does take longer to get the results that you need, or it can take longer. It doesn't mean it necessarily does, but it can do. But I recommend keeping it on cookie based anyway. It's not a huge difference. And select a start date. I'll keep that as the 2nd of August 2023, which is today. And I would recommend probably not actually keeping put in an end date. You can put in an end date here, or you can put in a duration date. I recommend probably just keeping it none. Keep an eye on those spend levels, impression levels, clicks, and conversion levels, and then turn it off manually when you see fit. And lastly, enable sync. I would keep this on. Again, you want to keep both campaigns identical. So any changes like negative keywords, bid strategy changes that you do make to your control or base campaign or original campaign, whatever you want to call it, you also want to apply those to the experiment throughout the course of this experiment itself. Last but not least, just click Create Experiment and you'll see it here, landing page A/B test. And if we go back to our campaign tab, we can see the experiment also in here. It's got a slightly different icon. And if you want to make any changes to this experiment or pause or cancel it or anything like that, you want to just come back into the Experiments tab, All Experiments, find the experiment that you want to adjust, click on it, and you can always come in here and just click Cancel Experiment if you want to remove it. Simple as that. And you'll get an overview of all of the results to compare and contrast once you've done that. So that's how you set up experiments. I told you it was pretty straightforward. Don't listen to what everyone has to say. It's not difficult. Keep things straightforward and you'll be fine. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have and you want to support us, then please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if possible, also hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. We've also got a bunch of free links in the description below. There's also some paid resources in there as well. So please check all of those out. And if you've got any questions, the easiest place to contact me directly is in the 84 Academy Discord. That's linked below and it's completely free. But I do also try my best to respond to every comment as well, so feel free to drop any questions below in the comments too. Thank you for watching and I will catch you in the next one.